show. Great.
All right.
So that's awesome.
How do we put the mountains behind us now? That's
the mountains are supposed to click this one right here, the effects box.
Okay. This?
Yeah, this one right here. Now, if we had it lit up right, that would be the mountains behind us there. See that green? See how that's gray now and it's kind of wavy?
So which screen do I click on? That's full screen for everybody?
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody's seeing. Yeah. But
look how the mountains are on your house plants.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they're green. Yeah. So we'll definitely work that out. And I know if I move it a little bit, you see that? You see how
we're going to watch it. There's people who smoke pot and watch this show.
Yeah, that's true.
Watch the mountains come in as the light dims behind us.
Is my light over there?
During the shot.
Probably shouldn't have said nothing.
My light over there, Chuck?
Is your what?
Do you see my light over there, Ray? Ray is my... We're doing
lighter?
the show at the house. No, I wanted to point a light at this green screen to see if it actually would help, make...
Okay. Oh, you need your headlamp?
Do you see my headlamp? Do you see it over there?
Right next to the...
Yeah, it is. Right there next to the power.
Ray's going to rap later, so that'll...
Sweet.
Ray, in the beer, there's another tall boy. Could you get that?
Ray is freestyling. All right, so this is my overhead lamp that I used to set up with. See how that's... Okay. So let me point that at this and see if that helps at all.
No, that's worse.
That's worse. That ain't doing... That's
what was your strategy there?
I thought that if I lit it up, it would show something.
I thought that wouldn't work, and here we are.
It's terrible.
And look, see, that's the blue sky. See the blue?
You think?
I thought that was the blue sky.
Maybe. Here, I get it.
I think if people actually are smoking pot, you should not say anything about it, because after a while, they'd be like, I think I see mountains.
This should be mountain right here between us.
No damn
lake.
Is that mountain? No,
that's
not.
No.
Okay.
If we leave it.
Yeah. So anyway, it'll work. So anyway, back to you. This is how we do the show. We're trying to learn as right here in front of everyone. So that's how we do the show. Did I mention that we're live?
It's like an open mic for broadcasting.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. Except with more people in attendance, thanks to you kind folks.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. Oh, by the way, even though we're not at Ari's Tavern, go to Ari's Tavern, get yourself an Ari's burger.
Yeah, this week we can't be at Ari's Tavern.
Yeah.
And we're grateful to be at Eugene's Tavern.
Yeah, we're at Eugene. I just said Eugene like I'm a third person.
Yes.
I spoke about. We're at my kitchen table.
Yes.
Which I can't really say because I think Kate and Holland owns the name of it.
Sure.
Podcast is called My Kitchen Table.
So we're at Eugene's kitchen table.
We're at Eugene's kitchen table,
and we're doing kitchen table, and we talked about Adam, and he's got a podcast.
Yeah, Adam's got a nice podcast. As a matter of fact, I think Adam is throwing out the first pitch for the Rockies this year.
Oh, that's exciting.
He did a big campaign to be Adam, Kate, and Holland. Also heard he ripped it in Austin.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I had some friends in Austin, and they actually went to see him, and they said he ripped it down there.
Good for him.
Yeah. So, yay, Adam. Good set. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Chuck. So
I think that's where I'm at.
So now that you've gone on stage, you got a taste of it, of what it's like. What do you think? What do you think of it? You going to go back? You want to do some more?
I had a blast. I definitely want to do it again.
Have you been writing stuff?
So every time I come across something, I had to write it down, or I run into some folks, and I had a few people show up, which I was really kind of hoping that nobody was gonna make it. So that way if I tanked it.
I always tell people don't invite any friends down, but then. I put it on Facebook, so I guess I blew that myself because I blew it out on Facebook because I talked to you to make sure you were still coming.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to put on Facebook that you were coming out to do your first set, and I thought people would come out and support you, and I was absolutely right. People came out and supported you.
There was a lot more that were supposed to be able to make it, but I think the Facebook stuff they saw after the show, which was for me, relaxed me a little bit more. Right. But between you and people at work who saw it, they had scanned it and sent it to everybody else because it's like any other place that you work at. If somebody finds out you're doing something and they can make you more uncomfortable, they throw it out.
We're all about that.
Yeah. They made sure they put up flyers and they printed all the stuff. So
there are people who have never done their first set, and you haven't done your second one yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my assumption would be there's somebody watching going, this is bullshit. Why is this guy on and not me?
Well, when I killed it, I was pretty damn good.
You did? Ease up. New guy. I
understand. I don't want to.
I bet you totally
play ball with that idea
in front of your friends.
How's everybody's first time.
Your first time.
Yeah.
We'll just your 75th time. I guarantee you, a lot of your friends aren't there.
Won't be there.
And your 75th time, you'll have met the bitter people I speak of. what is?
You know what?
Speak to the people, someone who is thinking about doing stand-up, and tell them what did it take for you to get up there and do it.
It took a shove. It took a little bit of luck.
What was that shove?
And fate. The shove was Eugene, Stephanie.
Why didn't you do it before? You're 40?
Before, I'm
military? I mean, are you a military pussy or are you military fighting strong?
It depends on who you're talking to about.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but military, let's go back to what Seinfeld brought up. I call you right on the carpet for it. Like Seinfeld brought up, this scares people more than death itself.
Well,
and it brings out irony. I'm calling you on the carpet for the purpose of
everybody.
Calling everybody who hasn't yet done it. You at least took the step, but you said the word someone had to shove you. So I want to find out, the purpose of having brand new people is to quit. For me, at least, the conversation I want to get to is, what the fuck? Why did it take a shove to get up on an open mic at Army's Tavern? That could have happened to you had you walked in and asked.
I can understand. I just seen enough comics that I know. Yeah. Go ahead, tell.
For me, in the military, in my 17 years and even before, I'm always the funny guy. I'm always saying something or doing something. There's a lot of times where I've said it and then I was like, crap, I just said that.
I'm gonna interrupt. I know this speech because I've heard this speech before. Yeah. This speech is routine and typical. I'm the funny guy at the thing.
Yeah.
It took someone to shove you. There are enough military people who could go, you're the funny guy in the thing at our military. There's 4 branches of military. There are 150 different nations with military. There's brigades of all kinds of people who are the funniest in their brigade. They don't get up there and try stand-up. You did. I want to give you your courage for that. But while it's fresh on you, I want to find out why there was such a barrier and it took a shove.
Because I'm a big fate person. I believe that if something is handed to you, then you just got to sometimes take that step.
But you wanted this, and it existed for you.
How long did you want to do stand-up?
Probably 5 or more years, maybe more.
Really? And all you had to do was walk into anything, an open mic, anywhere.
A lot of it is...
I'm not trying to...
No. I mean, a lot of the stuff I tried was the old crap. I actually went online. I watched... some comics. I would go to different shows and watch people perform and see, and you always hope you're going to meet somebody or try to, because much like anything else, it's like trying to find, it's not what you know, sometimes it's who you know.
Correct.
And giving that little hand. And I didn't know Stephanie before, and I, for the military, one of my jobs is I actually teach people to be instructors for the military. And and I'm also military police, and I've been deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan. So for me, I teach people to stand in front of people and instruct. Well, it's hard to stand in front of people and talk and do stuff, but giving classes is not the same as being in front of people and being kind of funny. And
correct.
And a lot of my things when I taught is that
I'll say correct, and then I'll just disagree entirely.
The Army...
It's 22 people in a room, don't want to be there, and you got to speak to them.
And a lot of it for me was...
standard audience at an open mic.
It's what I like to call... It's the captive audience.
Okay.
They can't leave.
Right.
Correct.
But... When I'm teaching the courses, I'm thinking to myself, I'm teaching the same course over and over, and what I don't want to hear is the same crap every time.
Correct.
So I interject a little humor into everything that I do in training so that it makes it more fun, not only for them, but for me too. So when, for my job, I was actually working with a great lady, Jana, who's helping us out with an event for the Colorado Army National Guard. And she... we were just talking and having lunch, and she was just laughing. I was telling her stories about, being in Iraq and some of the stuff that went on. And she's like, you're really funny. You should be a comedian. I'm like, yeah, I hear it all the time. She goes, I have this friend, Stephanie. I need you to meet Stephanie. And if I give you a number, will you call her? And I got the number, and right away, I didn't, because I didn't want to push. Because you're afraid if you push on somebody, they'll, like they need a stalker.
Right.
I know this happens to you a lot.
All the time.
So probably not so much. But
all the time.
So I got a hold of Stephanie, and I went and watched her do a couple shows, and I just was like, what the hell with it? I'm gonna try it. And then honestly, when I went that night and watched you perform that night,
right,
and watched Eugene up there, when I was given the opportunity and I got the phone call, I was like, you know what? I may never get this again. If I don't take the step now, I may never take the step.
Good for you.
Yeah. So for me, my advice would be take the step. Find somebody, come see a show. I don't care where it's at.
Jesus, yeah, Google it. Huh?
Yeah, I don't care what you do. Put yourself out there.
Talk about how difficult it is to find your way into this business.
Bullshit! It's difficult. It's Google. New Hampshire, 1992. I know, but I had to get a Yellow Pages out and a legal pad, and then 411. The Yellow Pages of New Hampshire does not have a listing for comedy club. I understand. So, in a level of difficulty to get on stage for someone who started in 92, 82, or 95, it was difficult. After that, it became searchable on the internet and far much easier.
But it's not just finding a room, Chuck.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
I think it gives it a lot of bad information, though.
Today, you can just Google.
No, you can't.
You can do that from your bus stop.
Go ahead and Google.
How do I become a comedian?
Google it.
I had to call a comedy club and get lucky enough for one.
If you Google it,
let's Google it. We can bring it up. We can actually bring it up on this screen. We are live broadcasting. We can Google. You'll get tons of videos. You have people can watch this show and figure out how to be a comedian. I'm just saying.
How do you be a stand-up comic?
It was a bitch in 1992. You Google how do I be a stand, and odds are the link to 5280 comedy. The link to 5280 comedy is within 25 to 40 pages.
That's what I found.
But dang.
Now, however,
I just mentally did Google. In 1992, you had to use a phone book, which didn't have a listing for. Then you had to call 411, get connected to Boston.
Let's pull forward 20 years and talk about now.
Okay, so it's easy now, is all I'm saying. And there are so many people who create a giant barrier.
I think it's tough.
What do you mean?
I think it's tough in the sense that, like, when I went to...
Tough how? Go ahead and tell me how. Go ahead and tell me how.
It's tough in the sense that I think there's over-information and there's a lot of bullshit information. Like for me,
is there over-information?
Yeah, I think
God, what a fucking problem as compared to none.
Yeah, but the problem with it is that one was how to be a comedian, and you could sign up for classes online and do that crap. So there's people making money off of that. And then you could go online, you could find people who coach, but a lot of it is, for me, is that if they're doing a lot of coaching, why aren't they out there doing comedy? You know,
because I'll tell you.
And I don't know everything. I don't know all that stuff.
I'll be happy to.
Yeah, so when I'd go watch shows, I would see people get up there and doing it, and then even the hosts of went to Comedy Works quite a few times, and he was like, "You gotta get on a list," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll get on a list. You know what? I'm gonna write some stuff and I'm gonna go do it." Well, the list was 3 months long. 3 months long, and it was like, holy crap, for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh, you're not going to get 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, well, whatever it was. Well,
2 minutes.
To me, it felt like 10 minutes because I had never did that. When I'm rolling it through my head, that shit feels like, a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was, and a lot, I even told Eugene on the phone, was that he's like, well, what are you writing? What are you looking at? What, how are you preparing for this? And, oops.
You're good.
I actually... wrote stuff, and then I was rolling it in my head and talking.
Look at him go, dude. Look at him go.
And
new guy, just doing fine.
Go ahead. You're doing great.
Yeah. Well, I'm always talking, so no matter what,
Go ahead. You're fine.
So for me, it was, where the hell was I? I got lost.
All right, that's all right.
I'm grilling you about, you said shove. Now you're in. Right. And
this was overwhelming.
Yeah.
This was overwhelming for me because as soon as Eugene called me and was like, hey. I thought it was more of a, he's going to talk to me about the audio issue that happened on Friday night.
Sure.
For me and saying, hey, sorry about the audio thing. I got it online. I think I Facebooked you saying, oh, it's bullshit or something,
Sure.
Oh, and Frank Shook had said something about this. This initiates.
I did halfway decent and he cut me off.
You know more about your comedy career than either of us do. You always will. If it's overwhelming, it's probably because we got a lot of experience at a comedy career.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm grilling you on day one about it. Wow. But you're also, of the three of us, the most recent to go through stepping over that hump. And that hump just shouldn't be so damn. I think people make it up in their mind. That's why it's so hot.
I did it. I second guessed myself immediately.
So don't get mad at me. I'm calling people out on that.
No, the first thing that I did was, talk to people, and they would be like, be funny. And I'm like, on the spot, something that's not something.
Let's start right there. Start right there. Now, this is for the second half of my questions are always like, what would your friends and family want to know? That's annoying as hell to us.
Okay.
Be funny on the spot. Who does that, and where are you when someone's like, be funny?
Like at work or... You know, I think the way I took it was, like at work, was,
okay. So
if I'm going to come see you, make me laugh now.
Oh.
You know?
And what were the qualities of the person as a comedy buyer? Like, how much comedy do you think that those type of people, how often do you actually think they purchase comedy in a year? Or did they just put you through a bullshit test?
Probably rarely, if ever.
So that's okay. I want to give a little bit of defense to people who are brand new, because we get that all the time. Somebody going, be funny, and it's okay to be at the start, like, be a good customer.
Yeah, right.
Because you're trying to put your heart and soul out there, some jokes. And you've told us twice how people already call bullshit on you and give you a hard time, yet they don't have the courage to get over something I think you've already pre-qualified as easier than you thought it was. The hump to get involved in stand-up comedy.
I think it was so easier in a sense because everybody was so supportive. And people I didn't even know.
Tell me about that.
People in Ari's Tavern, the night that you went on, and I've only been there twice.
Yeah.
And then the night after. And when you see somebody like you were funny, and I was like, damn, can I be funny like that?
You can.
So, but at the same time, people that night talked to me a little bit, and and were like, "Hey, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Just go, do it." And Stephanie, of course, being one of the big, people, were pushing me, and then you did that night too. You're like, "Hey, don't say it. Take a step and do it." And then the other night, even after, it was a little overwhelming when I got off. Because I was nervous.
I've seen that adrenaline rush so many times.
I was flying.
You were so high.
Yeah, and when I came out, it was just everybody grabbed a hold of me and said, "Hey, it was fun, and you had a great time." And then the guy that headlined after me, I thought he was funny.
Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you were tough to follow." And I'm like, "Fucking." I was like, a lot of it you take it as like that's bullshit, because that was my first time getting up there, and it's not my first time being in front of people, but it's first time being in front of people and trying to to entertain them.
I'll tell you something about this business, man, is that if you suck, people aren't shy about telling you about how you suck, and they usually do it by just avoiding you completely, or they'll say to the other guy, "You were great," and completely leave you out of conversation. But
that's what happens to me if I sit next to Eugene.
Just quit it.
Yeah.
They're like, they're just like, "Aren't you EUGE from the EUGE show?"
Yeah.
And then they look at me and they're like, "Keep trying."
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
You get a second chair one day.
We're going to talk to Chuck about his movie in just a second. So.
All right.
So yeah, all right. Chuck just got back. Chuck just got back. Yeah, thank you. Just got back in town for filming his movie.
Right.
So, people don't look at me and go, "Huge." People go look at me like, "Hey, is that Chuck Roy, his driver?"
So I have a follow-up question to our newbie. Earlier you said people try to make money off of advice. What's Eugene Kenny's advice worth right now? He's able to assemble a table, and on a Monday, put me at it.
Yeah.
And throw out newbies for their advice. Don't you think this show is? Do you think? I don't want to say don't you. You're welcome to think yes or no.
Right.
Do you think this show is worth money?
I don't know. I've never done anything like this. So for me, this was more. I've gotten more genuine stuff out of Eugene and Stephanie and some of the folks that I've met in the last couple weeks than I have from anybody. I mean, people where I would have no problem wanting to take my money online or online programs.
Sure. We haven't charged you. We haven't charged you, and we haven't figured out how to make any money from this. It's the start of a conversation.
So to be honest,
and we've asked some brand new people, like, if Eugene charged, would you pay for comedy advice off stage, a coaching session? Or,
there are coaches out there. I mean, there's money to be made.
Would you subscribe to a show like this? I think this should be out there for free.
I think after
I'll be able to tell you why.
After getting to meet you guys first, and especially with the way Eugene talks to people and works with them, after I got to know him, because he didn't pull me in that way. He didn't be like, "Hey, come up here and do a set," and then when I got done, come off and say, "Oh, you jacked this up. You did this right. I could coach you. This will cost you, $50 an hour or whatever it is." He didn't do that.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that for sure. I've never asked a question like this near Eugene in his life. Is all you need to know right now.
People out there
and
like
so
that.
I waited till we were live.
The last person thinking about coaching you is me.
Yeah. All I'm trying to price is what would he be, you know, his value as a producer for having assembled this, a show in which people can tune in and get coaching.
I don't know that he would know. I mean, what the reason
you pay prices, you buy stuff.
Yeah, you do. The reason
the guy was in the military, we trust him to serve.
I do trust him to serve.
So you name a price.
The reason that I wanted to talk to you myself,
I'm in that like $12 range per hour. Just so you know.
That's
fair. That's fair.
That's fair money.
It's like 12.
That's fair money.
That's not bad money. I'll put
That's
two
not bad
together,
money.
Make $25 in an hour. I'm done. Yeah.
Done.
So yeah. But I wanted you to talk about the difference between what you thought it was going to be and what it was.
Oh, well, honestly, big fear was freezing. Getting up there and freezing.
Okay.
And I'd seen a couple people the first time I went up there, and they had, you know, written what they're going to say on their hand or on a notepad.
Or a notepad.
And I like it. I actually, the comfort zone of being at your show, at Ari's, is, you know, being able to look at a note or work a little bit on what you're doing. And so
that's what
me watching you letting them do that was kind of a little more relaxing for me. I was like, okay, I could take a peek if I get a little caught up in something, or if this isn't working, I saw people they'd move to something else.
And when we do the professional shows, now the last thing I want to see is a notepad. When we do the professional shows at Ari's, I book maybe one or two of the people off of our Friday night showcases sometimes, but the last thing that I want to see on those shows is a note. I mean, by the time you get to do the professional show, the Saturday night show, I think you should have at least some idea what a 10-minute set is in your head. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to be able to click it off. I mean, if you can't tell, I can tell. If someone looks at me and goes, look, I need 3 minutes and 48 seconds, I know the bit I'm going to do because I know that bit is 3 minutes and 40. Or I know that bit is 2 minutes and whatever it needs to be.
Chuck like he's about to say something.
Yeah.
No, I recoiled once you said use notes.
Oh.
No. I got no problem with new guys.
I was like, you got to unload on Chuck.
Is a workout room on the Friday night showcase. So if people you're using notes on the Friday night showcase, I got no problem with that.
So my note to myself is that I'm going to write all that shit on my arm.
There you go.
Look like a tattoo.
But you yourself, you eventually will want to peel off those notes yourself.
I kind of did a lot that night because once
you need to know how to do your set without the notes.
I kind of condensed that story a little bit because I had a adrenaline rush, so it was going a little quicker than I thought it would. Right. And then
you got an applause break. Check that out on his first set.
Adorable.
Isn't that cute? Go ahead.
So you just said adorable, which in Army terms means you fucking right.
Well, in Czech terms, it means adorable.
Right.
No, it means adorable.
It means you got applause.
So
it means adorable.
Wait till you get those in plurality. Then you'll be like, that's adorable.
I listened to some comedians. They said how they would talk about stuff, and how people would criticize. Like, hey, I mean, you should say that. That's a little racist, or that's a little, And my wife hammered me with I had to tell the goat story. That goat story is one of my favorite shit I like to talk about.
What a great story. But I wanted to tell you, in comedy, the goat never dies.
The goat never dies.
The goat never dies. I mean, he told a story about
the goat died.
Tell the story. Tell Chuck the story.
All right. So we're in Iraq.
Pretend you're listening.
The war just got kicked off. We're probably about 3-4 months into the war. And our command decides they're going to treat us to a meal because everything we eat is out of packages, and it just sucks. So they went to the local market and got a goat, brought it back, and our great white hunters of my unit. So I hope there's nobody watching because I will get some shit for this.
Right. They're gonna be.
They're gonna. Yeah. Well, I'm sure if anybody knows me and sees any of this,
I hope you don't have an audience.
I hope there's nobody out there right now.
Well, the downside is that
the guest would like you to have nobody on today.
I just heard that. I was like, wow, okay.
So, anyways, because these people are still in the military with me, so they're gonna. I'll hear it.
We're just messing with you guys.
Yeah. So they bring the goat back to the camp. And, they hunt elk, they hunt deer, they're the great white hunters. So they grab the goat, cut its throat. The goat doesn't die.
Right.
So
goat's running around.
Yeah, they catch the goat, they stab the goat.
Goat doesn't die.
He ain't dying. So they do the moral thing and pin it down and hit it with a rock.
Right.
Goat don't die.
Goat don't die.
So then they shot it. Goat died.
Now see, there it is.
Now see,
wouldn't it be funnier if the goat didn't die? You shot the goat. Now the goat's still living in a wreck.
And my deal was that when the goat got to me, it was on a plate because I was on a patrol, and it was all covered in goat hair. So I didn't want to eat it.
After all that trouble.
I'm not a PETA person, but at the same time, you got to have some standards, even in the desert.
I can hear my cat.
Yeah.
That's gonna die.
Yeah.
We're having goat tonight at the Kenny house.
So as Eugene was training the guy being the host, he wanted to hear that the goat was going to live. So apparently, I learned a lesson.
Yeah, in comedy, the goat never dies.
Yeah.
That goat could have been. You could have shot that goat. You could have ran over that goat. As long as the goat doesn't die, it gets funnier and funnier and funnier.
Just armed it and then sent it against Al Qaeda.
We shot the goat and then finally give up. You got to give up on the goat. Let the goat go.
All right. Well,
so now there's a goat.
I'm learning though. I'm learning step by step what I can and what I can't say. But
every single time you said the goat didn't die, I laughed harder. When you were telling the joke.
Well, and then when I was talking to my wife about it, because I was trying to time the set, she was like, "That's not funny. Why is that funny about the goat?"
And then I was like,
"Shit."
Yeah.
You should have known it was funny right when the wife said it wasn't.
You got to stop listening. You can't let the wife.
But then as I kind of crammed that, I had that rush
Pretty
going.
soon you'd be doing her shows like you're doing the dishes.
Exactly. She's like, hey, here's a set my wife likes.
Sorry.
Dying every time
I want to say hello to your wife.
Yeah, hello, sweetheart. I'm sure you.
Lovely lady.
Which camera are we on?
I don't even know she's
coming up on 6 minutes to break.
Go.
Just so you know, 14 minutes since I blew up on you. Do you feel like you recovered? I thought you recovered after about 4 minutes.
I think it was good.
I was going to tell you at the 4 minute mark, like you were doing great, and now we changed subjects at least 3 times.
It was me too, because I felt necessary to stand up for you because it was your first time. But then you're a military policeman. You talk all the time anyway. You know what you're doing. So
He just told me I can kick you again.
I did bring my taser.
I think we got a lot out of you about what people have for fear in going on. One of the questions I really like to get to people is, what were you writing your jokes in previous to trying? Were you writing any jokes down before you met Eugene and Stephanie?
Yeah.
Where were you writing them?
Mostly in notepads, napkins.
Where were they going? You wrote them on napkins, and
you name it. If I'm sitting in a bar and I tell a story, I'm like, that was funny, so I wrote it down.
What year is the first time you wrote something down in a bar?
In a bar, I'd say less than a month ago. I did, and then 6-7 years ago.
You started writing stuff 6-7 years ago.
I did a journal when I was in Iraq.
Talk to the people who. You got me good there, soldier.
Whatever.
Talk to the people who hide their notebook. What makes you? Did you hide your notebook?
Did people know
you were collecting jokes?
Did people around you, or did they know you actually wanted to
a lot of people would just say stuff to me about you should go be a comic. You should do this. You're funny.
But the notebook. Tell me about. I know the people. I know. Okay, so these are the symptoms of if you're going to be a comedian.
The notebook and stuff, like when I did the journal in Iraq.
Where was the journal? Where did the soldiers in your unit know it?
Yeah, because there's people who still ask me if they can read it.
Really?
Yeah, they want to.
So you'd write. Something funny comes up on a day.
Funny at that point when I was there, it was funny stuff and serious stuff. There was a lot of both.
Right.
Outside of soldiering, had you ever kept a notebook as a place to put jokes that you intended to tell on stage if you ever tried comedy?
Not really. I just say that, for the military uniform, because I'm active duty with the National Guard. I always have a notebook. Always have a notebook and an ink pen.
What for?
Notes. When anything's going on, no matter what happens, I write down. Sure. And if you go through most of my notebooks, you will see little jokes or little funny stories that I write on the outsides of it, because a lot of times I want to say that some briefings are boring, but the shit's boring.
Right.
And I drift a little bit, and I'll write some stories and keep myself entertained. And that's the stuff where I was stripping it out of, and then as we know the last couple months, when I was sitting in the bar about becoming a little bit more aggressive about thinking about trying this, and this is before I came to the Eugene show, was Stephanie's like, write it all down. Just write it all down. Doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. Just write it down, then you can go back to it later. Because if you forget about it, it's gone.
Did you write it down?
Yeah, wrote it down.
Right. Where'd you write it down?
On napkins, whatever.
Where is it now?
Mostly at home in a computer. Now I went home and started putting it in a computer file.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
And then
what's the plan for all that stuff?
New stuff.
Yeah.
If I do it again,
new stuff for what?
Well, my worry is that like I was watching Stephanie real close.
Yeah.
She writes new stuff. I mean,
why would you need new stuff? Are you doing more shows?
I hope so.
You're gonna go back up and do some more shows?
Why would you be doing more shows?
Because
it was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed everybody there.
You
liked it. So where do you go to get other shows? There's a soldier watching, wants to know. The wife of a soldier, bored, has always been told she's funny. There's somebody
who
just thinks soldier is honorable. So there's somebody watching who gives a shit about soldier, and therefore you fought for their freedom to give a shit about soldier.
Right.
They want to know, what do you do to become a comedian? What do they do today?
Put yourself out there.
How?
Go to shows, watch stuff.
How would you find the show? If you were Googling, because I yelled Google.
5280,
Give me some things to Google. What can people Google if they live in Minnetonka, not from here?
There's got to be some. The first thing you do is you Google comedy, stand-up comedy. That's what I put in, was stand-up. And all these things came up, and I checked out 5280.
What kind of things?
Different clubs that had stuff like King Comedy.
We have no plan to do this anytime soon, so you're going to have to tell the kids at home what you saw.
Yeah, so King Comedy, Comedy Works, of course, came up everywhere.
Sure, that's a big. So in anybody's town, hopefully the big comedy clubs come up.
And go
so
watch.
You can simplify. Now I'll take over for that. You call them up and you ask them about amateur night, open mic night.
Yep.
Ask the phrase, how does one become a comedian? It sounds pathetic, and they will help you. Local places.
A lot of them will just give you a job at the door and pretend.
Sure. Yeah. So open mic night is stuff you can Google at a coffee shop and maybe meet other comedians in your neighborhood. And 5280 comedy, what was that?
I saw some of the shows that were on 5280,
website, right?
And then I brought up the entire 5280.
So a website of local comedy information?
Right.
Was it accurate?
I know a lot of them, some were.
Somewhere.
Some you walk in.
We got it.
Well, you should be, because there's a couple.
We're not going to.
Where you walk in and you saw the place and you're like, no.
Okay, so that I think is what you're telling me is what happens when someone is brand new, and what they find. And as we continue to do the show for a year or two, I think we'll be able to narrow down for people what they need to do when they start wanting to be a comedian.
Well, we'll eventually have something they can come to us.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. What would be the kinds of shows that people are doing at your level, and how do you think you're going to prepare for them? What type of shows do you think you have come to you over the next year?
Well, I got to say, I'd like to come back to Eugene's for a few more.
You're going to do ours again.
And
a few more.
So a few more. Not in the sense of.
Walk me through a few. I know what a few means.
I'll branch out. For me, my entire goal was to put myself out there, to give it a shot, and because I didn't want to be one of the guys who looked back and said, I should have tried it. I just should have tried it. And then, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of, travel aspirations. I've done a lot of traveling in the military.
Sure.
I've done a lot of stuff, and I like being local. So for me, hitting a couple places and then
for some people, what you did is enough. I mean, some people actually do the one show, get it out of their system. That's the last we see of them.
How many shows a year can he expect from you?
From Ari's?
From you?
From me? 6.
Okay. About how many minutes per show?
I give everybody 10.
10. And okay, so that's the amount of stage time you have coming to you at his place. What do you think you could do for 10 minutes 6 times a year?
All kinds of different stuff. You just gotta, I gotta keep coming up with stuff and coming in and, and giving it a shot. And and then the nights where you're not in it, you come watch anyways.
Do you do shows for military? I mean,
No, not really. Anything I do is impromptu and in front of other folks, and I just do stuff, and people are like, they were just write it down, go be a comedian.
The reason I asked is because people like to relate to, the comic, and, military is one of those places where it's very hard to relate to if you're not in.
Yeah.
I do a whole lot of military. I was in the military, so I do okay there.
Yeah.
But there are some places that you can't connect because the military life is so different from your everyday person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 18 minutes. What can he do? What's his next year like? What's his next year like?
I think he's going to do some military shows.
Sure, but what do you do for the next year of trying shows? You're going to do
probably for the next year. I'd like to do more shows at Eugene's and get the confidence level where I feel good.
Just once every 2 months you're going to hit
once every 2 months, or
where else can you get stage time?
I'm going to go on 5280 and find some spots.
Okay.
And
so you don't do you know or you don't know or
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to say I don't know.
No, because this was my big first step. This was my first step.
I don't know. It's definitely. I'm grilling you. You've answered real hard and honestly. I'll answer questions of yours as long as I know you, as long as you remain honest, as long as I can remain honest with you.
Yeah.
So, now you definitely can take over in this interview and ask questions about, but let's stay on what the next year ahead for you is like.
What do you want to do? Let's say you could dream it up right now. What would it be?
For a soldier anywhere in the world, if they're on 8 months, in Botswana, they can Google shit and find the closest English-speaking place.
Yeah.
And if it's playing right away, then I guess they got to save money.
If it was military, I mean, obviously I wouldn't mind doing a USO show and going over and talking to soldiers and military personnel who, because I've done all that, and I still got 3 years before I can actually retire from the military. So, I'm 17 in with, 3 to go. And, whether I stay longer than that, I don't know. I've had enough deployments and done enough to where, I think I've served.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you start writing a set toward that?
Yeah.
You surely can. You surely can.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, I want to hit some more local places and see how I feel.
Sure.
And if I feel it feels as decent as it did, and I know it doesn't go that well every time. In fact, I was surprised that it felt that good on Friday.
You know what I wanted to tell you, that I was kind of glad that the video didn't come out on your first show, because I don't think anybody should have a copy of their first show.
Oh, I didn't want to see it.
There's no good coming out of that, watching yourself do your first show. Everything that's good came out of it when you got up there and told the jokes and you came off stage. That's the only thing you can learn from that set. You can't watch that set and learn how to be a stand-up comic, but you can take from that the fact that you got on stage, the fact that you got up on stage and you held your own for 10 minutes, or whatever 8 minutes, whatever your time was. I didn't check it, but you held your own and you did okay.
Felt like 20.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. And you ad-libbed a little bit.
So,
which I was impressed with your first set. I really was, and I'm glad there's not a copy of it, because 20 years from now it's going to be so much better in your head if you don't have a copy of it.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, my first set I killed.
We got the mountains yet?
Are they in the mountains yet?
We're coming in a little bit.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to light that up.
I think it's okay. This is.
Oh, look over my shoulder.
Look at your open mic. Look at your open mic.
Check right there.
Look at your other shoulder. Other shoulder. Yeah.
That's a Colorado. If I move that's a Colorado mountain range right there.
It's actually more the shadow.
Look at that. All right. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
We'll figure that out.
We're getting it. Listen, that's trying jokes, kid. That's trying jokes.
But yeah, thank you. I mean,
we're not done. Thank you.
I'm just glad you did it. I'm just glad you. Oh, thank you for getting on stage. Is what I was going to say.
Well, I definitely wanted to, thank you guys especially for giving me the opportunity to come up there and do that.
Answering my question that's out there.
What's your question?
What kind of how many like stage time in your first year, and to use something like EUGE, where he's got a showcase, you have a chance to go to other places and bring new material 6 times a year to his place. So knowing that you have 10 minutes to do there, you don't want to do the same set all 6 times.
Exactly.
So throughout the year, you're going to have to go find open mics that you like, and maybe build yourself a rotation of places that you can try new material while you grow your sets.
Definitely.
Because you could probably do 3 different sets for 10 minutes twice a year. You know, one being just start your holiday set already.
Okay. All right.
You know, your Christmas set and your spring.
Did you cut your beard?
Yeah, I trimmed my beard and cut my hair. It's terrible. I also have a mullet going. Look,
That's not a boots cut, though.
No, I trimmed after the movie. I was so sick of it.
Okay. All right.
Saturday night, I jacked this off and I cut this myself. I'm gonna go see Andres.
Okay.
It's Andres now.
Oh, is it Andres now?
He's really good. He gets it.
All right, I was just noticing the beard is what.
Yeah,
the beard is definitely
driving me nuts.
All right, cool.
Can we talk about the movie soon?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me get the camera here.
Nah, we'll wrap with him. We'll wrap with him for 1 second. We'll talk about my movie in a minute. But there's people like I am excited to always talk to someone who's brand new. And so I want to. Like people who have that fear and that hump, it's like now you're giving them a reality check. You could hustle all you want. There's only X amount of stage time for you to get, right? 5 nights a week at most. So how many nights a week do you think you're going to try this? Will it fit in with your schedule?
For me, I mean, for all the stuff that I do, I'd be happy, once a week doing something.
You'd be fine that way. Right. You're not going to build a great routine for the soldiers in 3 years at that pace.
So, true.
But 3 nights a week, and you might be 3 nights a week, a couple of weeks a month, and 1 night a week every other week. That's enough work to build a good routine. But 1 night a week, and boy, you're going to be
just
struggling in between. You'll have I hope that new minute. You have to if you're trying to get 10 new minutes 3 times a year. That's 4 months to get 10 minutes of new stuff. So. That's why I say break it up into like holidays. There's a 10-minute set about the holidays. You're going to use it again next year and the year after.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Middle of the summer stuff. Winter stuff.
Year in review. That's a great.
It's I don't know what if your material is talking about soldier stories.
Well, a lot of it
or life stories. Then if you like stories, then you can sort of look at your next year and go, okay, I have this stuff to write. If it's 10-minute sets. And you're only getting 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes of stage time, that's only so much writing that you have to do. It's not endless.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit. And it's only so much rehearsing and going to open mics. And you can achieve that. But you actually have to do enough work. You have to create the 10-minute sets that are original and make people want to come back.
Yeah.
And in your next year, for you have a lot of difficult stages to learn to conquer.
Oh, definitely.
I tell
rooms and bar gigs.
Yeah,
theaters with only comedians in the room.
Yeah,
and theaters that are important that you have to go to, where there's only comedians in the room, and the comedians are young and they're in skinny jeans and they're, chasing pussy, and you may not want to be there, but you got to, because some of those comedians need to see that you have heart.
Okay.
Or that you were going to try, and if your set is the same all the time, people are going to be like, well, there's that guy who's just coming in to get some laughs and try to steal our pussy. That's not your goal. Your goal is it sounds like you want to try this and give it a good run.
Oh, definitely,
If you do want to do jokes for soldiers, you could do that within 3 years. Yeah. If you have a half hour and you're not saying the F word, and you have an hour and you're not saying the F word, you work forever.
Man.
And I just wanted to maybe set you a little bit of an expectation and find. Do you think that's insurmountable?
No. In fact, it's good advice. I mean, because I don't know the path.
Right.
I mean, there's not a lot of people who will throw that stuff out there, for you.
We do it every Monday.
That's why we do this every Monday.
We'll do it at our kitchen table if the venue can't, if we can't make it into the venue.
Tell me about your movie.
It's called The Gnashing. I worked with a nice guy who's just finished a Nicolas Cage film. So it was a really fun to watch, a really talented actor do some really talented acting. The director is the same as the 1 hour special I did with Ralphie May.
Okay.
The same crew will do my 1 hour special in April. So right away, sound guys and sound personnel and lighting personnel sound personnel came over to say, like, loved you 1 hour special. You were really fun for the Ralphie May thing.
I got you.
And so then we, agreed it would be great to see each other again in April. And then I got to work with them on their, like, what they really like to do.
Right.
You know, they shoot the 1 hour specials because that's good work and they get it. They're really good at them, but these are their passion movies. It's called The Gnashing. I should have advanced you the YouTube video. There's kids from Nebraska who try meth and it goes poorly. They a young couple, and the film is based on their story. So the young couple, they kind of try meth and they freak out and they get lost. They have mutual hallucinations, which is the weird part, and they die. So I'm giving away the whole plot to the movie, but they're a popular YouTube story.
It's a comedy.
It's definitely a comedy. It is in fact not a comedy. It's a dramatic role.
I completely understand. That's a joke.
That was a big question. The producer of my 1 hour special is an actress who stars in the movie, so she makes her own movies and is
a blonde.
She was a blonde and now a redhead.
Well, she's a redhead now.
For the movie,
Really?
I don't pick up on those types of
I
things.
bet she's cute as hell as a redhead.
No, she was great. And so it was really fun to be in her art. She's in charge of capturing mine. She'll tell the story of my 1 hour special.
Okay,
These
great.
are the people who will point the cameras and make me feel real comfortable on stage, and I look forward to. I think I've definitely found the right people to capture my set and tell my story. And advocate for me. That's their word. They like the word advocate. And it was there are notes where you're very comfortable on stage, like the acting stage. And so I was happy to hear that. That means I was doing okay.
Cool. We're going to talk to you
a classic bear.
more about that. And you also you're going to be warming that set up at the Improv.
Oh God, yeah, April 9th.
April 9th.
You're going to be our host.
I'll be hosting the show. You'll be. Are you going to do an hour?
Already. I'm going to do the hour.
You're going to do the whole hour?
The whole 75.
Sweet. So I'm going to do 3 minutes up front, and that'll be that.
Everyone's going to do what they have to do. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it's
going to be a great night.
I think people ought to. It's like roll out to watch that. Watch Eugene catch him as fast as he can.
Yeah.
And Jill, has to pull off her job of showcase, and Jill Tassie going to open.
Oh yeah, Jill Tassie. Mona Lott
is Mona Lott, and those are two people we want the Improv to work.
Mona Lott is a
routinely. If you're when you have the option to bring your show to a place,
drag queen.
So it's my chance to introduce them to a couple of opening acts, and then the opening acts are under the pressure of what's normally a 90-minute show. I'm in dire need to rehearse a 75 to 80-minute performance. So there's 10 minutes left for 3 acts to split. They're going to end up doing the show will automatically run long.
Yeah, well,
people will be okay with it, and I think that for a new comedian,
I'll catch them. I get them in 30 minutes. I get them in 30 seconds. So I don't worry about that.
Man, I do enough shows. I think the reason the room will be slightly full is because I do plenty of shows and get people inside of 4 minutes, and I get them hot and ready for another show, and they want to see me, do my big one. And
that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people want to see me do my big one.
So this will be stuff that we can find and go watch.
I just wrote the opening line again. It's like I keep going to Boulder Comedy Show and ripping my new, now I wrote another new opener. So now I have an opener that yields me my beginning, middle, end, and a callback.
Nice.
And it opens my set. It does exactly what I wanted to do with the first opener. Gets me right into the scenario I want to be in. But this one's even funnier.
And you're also funnier. You're also pushing out your jokes.
Jokes.chuckroy.com.
Jokes.chuckroy.com. Which one did I read the other day? The accountant. Was that the accountant joke?
Yeah. The budget meeting jokes. And the movie set jokes are getting.
Yeah. I like those. I like those.
Making a movie is a lot like having sex with a girl. You spend an awful lot of money for 6 seconds of action.
Wow. That's good. That's actually.
So, I know nothing about having sex with a girl.
That's what I do know a little bit when about I read that. I was like, Chuck wouldn't know, but that's okay. Come on, man. You definitely know about.
I do know.
Most people, there is that one time in your life that you talk about and try not to toe up.
Talk about it. It's an act, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I had a good time on the EUGE show today. I really enjoyed how the cameras are.
Wow, this was nice. Thanks for setting up. Where we at?
Thank you guys.
3 minutes to go.
All right, good to go. So, here's what I normally turn to our guests at this point and say, the reason that we pulled you on the show is because, we think you're going to be huge in this business. We really wanted to talk to you.
But what you're going to say is instead is not that.
We can't say that right now because you've only done the one set.
So WTF.
So we don't know if we want to talk to you. We definitely would like to talk to you again.
We definitely want you to come back. We definitely want you to come back. We want to follow your career.
If you quit, it's going to be a 5-minute Skype interview.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you about why you quit. And we'll be honest. And you can be honest with us. If you don't like it, nobody has to like it. But if you keep at it.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we have a YouTube clip of you.
Yeah, and oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have one next time because I've dialed in the
He said that before, and then the audio went to shit.
No, it'll be okay, young man. There'll be chances. You'll be putting out lots of YouTube clips if you want to.
That's the new comics role, man. You got to be on YouTube now.
Well, I gotta say, I did. I actually went in and YouTube Stephanie, and and she's funny, and
the Stephanie you keep talking about is Stephanie McHugh, our co-host.
You're gonna want to
when Chuck's not here.
You're gonna want
to YouTube Stephanie.
So
McHugh. She's going to be in town with Kathleen Madigan. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in Durango. I'm not sure of the dates, but look up StephanieMcHugh.com.
I think April 4th
is that the Durango
the
gig?
first? No, that's the Denver one, and then I guess April 9th. Hopefully, I get to go see you.
Sweet.
I
would like that.
So check out Stephanie. Go see Kathleen Madigan. Get yourself some tickets to.
And
I think they're at the Buell.
Definitely gonna. Nice. I think I'm gonna pursue.
All right, cool.
Good for you.
So we want to thank you for being on the show. We want you to come back and do our show again, and we want to know, what do you think of being a comic? I mean, there's so many interesting and amazing stories that never get told because so many comics never make it to Comedy Central. So many comics never make it to where anybody's going to see them, and there's so much relevant comedy happening under the radar of the national that
I agree with that.
I think that it's important that we talk to people. It's important that we see people, and like you've made a contribution to the comedy now. You've gone on stage. You've told jokes that nobody else could tell but you. Those are your jokes. That's your goat. That's your goat joke. I'm never going to forget.
The goat lives.
I'm never going to forget the goat joke. And in my mind, the goat never dies. You're going to shoot the goat. You're going to yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to Claymore mine the goat. You're going to you're all kinds of
I got to Claymore mine.
I'm here to that, right?
And the goat.
I'm pretty sure they retired Claymore mine.
It is hard to kill a hologram.
About a month later, you see the goat in Al-Qaeda, right? And a turban. Damn you, American! You tried to kill me. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Much.
Thank you.
Good job, sir. Thanks for your services.
That's Chuck Roy.
ChuckRoy.com.
ChuckRoy.com. I'm Eugene Kenny. EUGEShow.com. Do you have a .com?
No.
Do you have a Facebook?
You can go to GoDaddy. If you go to my webpage and you click on the GoDaddy button, you get GoDaddy services for 30% off.
There you go.
I get a commission. I'd appreciate it.
He gets a commission. So you're gonna need to get Facebook. We'll talk about this later. We're gonna get some video of you, put it up. So come back and see us. Thank you so much for doing the show.
All right, thank you.
And I think
That's
we're done.
Huge wrap.
That's a huge wrap. I think we're gonna shut this thing down. And
good night,
bye everybody.
Right. Hey, thanks.
Ari's Tavern. Go to Ari's Tavern. Get yourself a Ari's burger. They are amazing.
Yeah,
Chuck.
I'm starving.
We appreciate the way you tune in, and if you tune in, to choose to tune in again some other time.
Also, if you're still listening, subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're watching the video. We are getting major. I'm going to talk to you off the air about this, but you're not going to believe the numbers we're getting. Subscribe to the YouTube channel when you're watching the video. Put some comments in there and tell your friends. I mean, share this with your friends because this is what we're going to do. And I realize I'm talking to a camera that's not the main camera. No! No, that's the main camera.
All right.
But I want you to, share this with your friends. We want to keep doing this. We love the numbers. Thank you for supporting the show. And we love you. God bless you. And we'll be back next week, 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And good night, everybody.